Satu Dave. What's happening, y'all? Hopefully the air conditioning noise in the background ain't hurting it too bad audio wise. Same complaints as always. Just chilling with Miss Socks and working on some coffee right here early this morning. This will definitely be more of a sitting and bullshitting. So to cover a few things from last week that I probably meant to say, or expand upon some comments that were said, but I am definitely no expert. So when y'all see videos like I did last week, you can hear and see my thought process as I'm kind of going through there. I'm definitely no expert. If someone knows better, has questions why, like, I welcome them. So the first one I'm gonna kind of sort of address, and what we're talking about was, where did I put that knife? What did I do with it? Oh yeah, this Old Dominion I showed the modifications of last week. So the first question I got was from another knife maker, Donnie, and Donnie asked why the 1/4-inch pivot. Like, you lost enough meat off the titanium side of it, but basically between this hole and this frame that you pretty much negated any strength that you got from the 1/4-inch pivot. But I don't know. I just wanted to do it. In hindsight, did it need to be done? It didn't. It did help me offset it, so I was able to correct some of that stop pin issue without putting an additional pin in it. So I guess you could kind of use that for an excuse as well. But the knife is really no stronger than it was before. It just makes me feel warm and fuzzier, I guess, about it. That is definitely now the weak spot between the pivot hole and where the frame is cut for the frame lock itself. It's definitely a weak spot right there. It's pretty thin. But this also does have, these are titanium pivot collars on it. So it going through that pivot collar now, like, stabilized. It's basically like a hard washer on the outside. So it's not really going to give it a ton of strength, but it will help support a little bit. So that's kind of the main answer on that one. I did go back to, sorry, I keep going back to it. I did go back to the nylon, and I did do double studs on it. I hadn't really done anything with finishing on it. Did the D10 improve? Just barely improved. So I think that the hole on the top of that, oftentimes I like to have that ball work that hole in, knock the burr off and make sure before I do anything. I think the hole might be just a tad small, just a touch. So when we talk about this detent stuff, like, do y'all want to keep seeing this kind of stuff, like the mods? Not necessarily the full bore like this one is, but like Denise sent these couple in here. Scorpion 6, don't ask me the model, I don't know it, but we're gonna put thumb studs on this one. And the detents, I think the detent on this one she wanted to strengthen a little bit, but I can't remember. Definitely on this other one. This is an interesting Scorpion 6 too, but I don't even know the name of the model. Kingdom Armory, I don't know this one is, but you can see that this detent really is pretty much non-existent. Like, I guess it's not non-existent, it's just super, super weak. So you want to keep seeing the mods on these. Like, this one is going to be probably a bearing conversion too. It's on Foster Bronze. She wants bearings. So do you want to see this kind of stuff? I just need a little bit of feedback from you. And those who have that give me feedback in the past on the other stuff, highly appreciate it, because it does help me figure out how to drive what y'all want to see, more or less. And I know only a few of you in the big scheme of things comment like what you see, what you like, but it seemed like last week's video was overwhelmingly people liked it, just not every week, I think. I'm trying to read between the lines here. So this week, because I got the black card, probably my favorite Medford of all times, the TFF01H. I would have loved it if this was 3V. Other than that, that's probably the only thing I would have changed on this one, and maybe could have gone with the different hardware. But other than that, I love the H. I don't carry this one enough. It's kind of weird, man. Like the Satu, the TFF1H, like, they're like my long-term loves. Every time I pick them up, I love them. I just don't carry them a lot. Like, I got that 3/4 or the AR frame lock from Steve a couple weeks ago, and he said basically he had it in his collection, he just never carried it. And I'm kind of finding the same thing with it. Like, I love the knife, I pick it up, I play with it, I love it. It come times to choose what you're gonna keep in your pocket all week. That one always seems to go back in the safe, so I hope I'm not in the same boat that Steve is, but I might be. But anyway, what I was alluding to was they did send the black card, and I did get Satu Dave and Hot Rod on my card. So I don't know if they're doing it for everybody, but maybe because I did it before You know, he announced that he wasn't going to do that. He let me get away with that. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if I was the only one that got away with not using my real name. But I guess I'm number 34 now on the black card list. So, well, not just me and Hot Rod are number 34. He dropped a video saying that the OTFs were coming. If y'all don't know, I'm in Tucson, he's in Phoenix. It's basically a little over 100 miles from here to his shop. So just for observation was like, when they, even before they send the black card, they send you an email saying to confirm your address. So I confirmed the address. I figured be there the next day. Like they could literally drop it off in the mail that evening. The next day it'll be here. Like it's one day, 2 if they're really dragging their feet, right? It was almost a week before I got the thing. It was just kind of odd for me. But the OTF video, I guess he dropped a video. OTF, a few people actually hit me up saying they saw my name on the OTF was coming. And email confirmation again to confirm that something they had sent earlier that week. I have to confirm my email again on that one. So they got something weird in their system where they don't know what date their people are confirming, or maybe it's per item. I don't know, but it seems odd. And I think they only work Monday through Thursday or something. So even if they send something, it's like it don't get to you for a while. So they say it's going to sit within 48 hours, and I want to say that it's way more than that. But hey, it is what it is. Just an observation, I guess. Where are we going to go from here? So someone else had asked about this T1, and so I'm just going to briefly touch on this T1. And I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. This is Z-Wear, and it's already starting to rust up a little bit. This is strictly, I don't know if you can even see it, so it's strictly just, you know, not putting oil on it after I'm done. I'm not, and maybe sweat off my body when I'm carrying it and stuff, but for the vast majority of times I've carried this one, I usually, you know, spray it down, but it's already starting to rust. So it's just minor. It's not like no pitting or nothing like that. So asking you guys, if you own this knife, would you let it just do this rust patina? Would you go back and try to get all that stuff off of it? Like, I'm kind of undecided because it kind of looks like a knife that could rust patina pretty cool and look good. Not like getting it out of control, nothing like that. Still taking care of it, but you know, like let it do a little bit of its thing. So I hadn't doused it with the CLP yet, but I might. I don't know. I haven't decided what I want to do with it. This knife did slick up a lot. Like it's way nicer now than what it was when I got it from Blade. It barely even moved. And I thought it was breaking in on the washers real good. Then I realized, let me see if I can do this. Y'all can see it here. Can you see the blade moving? So the pivot just loosened up. Hopefully y'all can see that. Basically the pivot just loosened up. So I thought it was breaking in good, but it just loosened up. Which I think half the time, even Medfords and stuff like that, like I think that's what they Loctite everything in. But essentially you're knocking burrs off of stuff, and then that creates a little bit of space, and that's what slicks it up. Or the pivot backs out a little bit, makes it slicker, and I think that's pretty much the same deal with the T1. So I got to pull it apart. I haven't pulled it apart yet. The other thing that I wanted to mention on this one is, I'm pretty sure Jose's wasn't this way, but my eyes ain't like they used to be. So I don't know if I ever told you or didn't tell you, but this is pocketed, man. So I don't know if you can see in there. Probably can now. Yeah, there you go. Can you see that pocket on this show side? See, there's handwriting inside of it. Yeah, so these are definitely now made with the CNC, because the way they pocketed that, you're not doing that on a manual mill. And I think at one point they were doing them all manually, but this is definitely not done manually. This is definitely done CNC. At least, you know, the profile and pocketed part of it anyhow. So not as warm and fuzzy about the, you know, I thought it was all manually made. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I guess, like, it just is what it is. So it's kind of funny to me, like, how one knife kind of drives you towards more knives. Like, you get one knife in and like you like something about it, then you're like, well, let me explore. So what I'm talking about is, like, I've never been a front flipper guy. So when I got this Soulstone from doing my blade, I was like, I don't even know how to do it. He actually explained it to my brother, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna try it the way he explained it. It's kind of funny how he did it. So after he did that, I was like, okay, let me try to learn it. So I learned how to front flip on this knife. This is the knife that I learned how to front flip. Nice enough knife that I was like, you know, let me spend a little time with it and try to learn. Like, I still can't do the whole, they do an index finger thing. I can't do that. But I learned how to front flip, so that I go back through with a collection and I see, I get a meaning I'm saying this. So Rogovitz, right? So I was like, hey, I can front flip that thing now. So like when I got it, I was like, I don't know who does this crap, like the front flip, and I was just thinking it's just pretty much finger flicker or thumb hole. But yeah, now that knife has taught me how to front flip, so now I can front flip. So it makes this knife more fun to play with. I know, stupidity, but like it just is what it is, right? I haven't been modding for a while, and then two guys independently hit me up for it. Not modding, regrinding, I'm sorry. And both these guys that I've known for a long time and look up to. They did a lot for the community. So first is Lefty Kev sent me this. I had to ask what it was because I'm not up on the thing, but it's a GOM, Renegades Provision Code, something like Renegades. Yeah, so it's the same person that made the Gunneer. It's just a smaller front flipper version of it, and I can actually use it. Like most of the guys send these knives into me. I'm like, I don't how you even do that, but now I can front flip. So regrind on this one for Kev. He wanted belt satin on it, so I took it up to about 320, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But it was fun to do this one. This is the first one I did in a while, so I gotta admit, walking up to the grinder to sand, I had a little bit of that butterflies kind of thing. I was talking to actually Dan from Precision Knife Works a while back, and he was like, man, it's just like shooting. You just kind of lose it if you don't do it all the time. So I was like, yeah. So anyway, had to shake the cobwebs off on that one. And then Javon sent me one, which is pretty much almost, for me, grinding wise, almost the same theory, but on another 8-inch hollow. I didn't put an edge on this one. This one I did put an edge on. But anyway, walking up to the grinder for John, so it was like, I got this shit. And it's like a third of the time that took me to do Kev's. And you could look, it grinds so much taller on Javon's versus Lefty Kev's. But if you look at the hole on this one, it can only go so high on that grind, and then you're getting into that hole. So you can see even how I curved it. It was just kind of sort of no way to get around doing that. I wanted to go deeper on it, but if I would have did any deeper, it would have looked stupid. This one allowed me to go a little bit taller on that grind, as you can see, and kind of blend it in how I wanted to. Very much the same, similar type of grind. But now I'm like, I actually look at the front flippers of these, and I don't know if you can see it in this shitty video, sorry guys, and how much different these are. So this is definitely more similar to that Soulstone. So I had zero issues learning how to figure this one out, because you kind of got a big enough tab there. This one did take me a little bit longer, and I know Jamal's not a front flipper guy either. He's probably just thumb studding only on this one, but the jimping on this style for the front flippers, I never really understood what the guys would always talk about needing jimping all the way to the edge, but man, it makes a huge difference. It really grabs your thumb. So it's kind of funny that now I'm learning how to front flip, now that I ain't getting the knives in to regrind anymore, or seemingly a lot less anyhow. But having said that, like, if you guys got something you want regrind for the next month or so, I'm pretty much going to take anything, because I kind of rather stay in here with this AC than go out there in the machine shop. It's just so brutal out there. Like, I literally woke up 5 o'clock this morning, it was 80 degrees outside already here, so not a whole lot of relief as far as temperature. I mean, 80 is fine. I can go out and work in the shop 80, no problem. It almost feels like air conditioned compared to like it is during the day, but it's still, it kind of cooks your insides for your day off. You don't want to get cooked, right? All right, so moving on from there, touched all those. The collab with Sharif. So this one took a turn for the worse, I guess. It got better, and then it got worse. So forgive some of the magic marker stuff on it, but this was originally supposed to be a flipper knife. Backspacer was supposed to be different. I've already kind of deviated enough from this design that, like, I hate to even call it a Sharif design. It's almost like Sharif inspired now, because I'm really deviating. This first was probably never going to leave this shop. I almost guarantee it's not going to. If it does anywhere, if I get through with it, I might let Sharif borrow it. But as far as like getting in someone else's hands, letting someone else see it, I'm just staying here. Like, there's already so many flaws in it that I'm not happy with the craftsmanship in it. So, but I was struggling with how to put the stop pin and the track in it. So he has it drawn with basically a almost exactly like the Kamano, where the stop pin's kind of up here, the blade kind of scallops in the front, and then it scallops on the back side. Let's see, the best way to tell you this is probably like, okay, so from the back side, let's see if we can get in here. You see how it's relieved? The stop pins are kind of back. Well, you can see this one, I tried to do the same similar thing, but there's not enough meat for the lock bar to lock up. So while I was able to, and there's no detent, no lock bar pressure, obviously, because there's no lock bar cutout. But the stop pin, you can kind of see how it does stop pin to stop pin there. Works fine, but there's no meat on the inside of that to lock up. So I'm gonna close it again so you can see. But basically, in this area, there's nothing enough to make it work how it is to make it lock up. So what I thought I'm gonna do is I'll probably just delete that flipper and come in here on the back side and just cut into the blade here and make the lock bar cutout come right up here underneath the pivot, more or less. And you can kind of sort of see the doodles of the fuller that I was going to put in here, in a compound grind with flat up front and hollow in the belly. It's kind of sort of the idea that I came up with. This is not the way it's drawn, so this is a huge deviation from what it was. It's just something I had in my mind. The other thing I'm having problems with this, you can probably see some of this where I was trying to play with it. I'm getting distortion. So anytime you work with titanium, it has the memory, but it also has stress. If you don't de-stress it before you work it, or if you work stress it, like it acts differently. It moves strangely. So the best way to probably show you probably this piece here. I don't know if this come out of video or not, but I just want to show you. So this is just a piece of stock that I'm trying to flatten, and I tried it several different ways. So I tried just decking it in the middle, and I'm just looking for one side tried and true, and then I'll try the other side. But no matter what I do, this is probably not gonna come out in video because you're probably not gonna be able to see the light behind it. But when I put a flat edge or put it on my surface plate, and look, this side's crowned. So in other words, it's lower here, it crowns up and then comes back down. And this side's dipped. So no matter what I do, this side's high, it goes in and then comes back up. And this is on a micro level, but there's no way you're gonna see this. You almost have to be in person and see it really close. But it's something for me, and that's the problem I'm having with this one too. Something for me that, like, as a machinist, you really don't have that issue that much. You have flatness issues and that sort of thing, but if you have a material that's stressed and you can't get it, you can just get it, just send out, you get it, put in the oven. So like titanium, the recipe for doing it is like basically like, I think 1,050 degrees or something for like 3 hours soak, and then letting it basically go back down to room temperature in the oven and anneal it. It takes the stress out of it, and then from there you can work the titanium. It won't potato chip and all that kind of weird stuff. So it's another thing I need an oven for. So I'm not having luck. I tried to sand it with the surface grinder, or not surface grinder attachment for the 2x72. I tried fly cutting it. Tried lapping it after a fly cut. Just nothing's coming out exactly like I want it. I want it like when you see, I keep using Donnie for example, but if you watch Les Knives Instagram, like when he does his flatness check on the surface plate, it's perfect. Like that's what I'm shooting for, perfect. Like I'm not trying to do it. Like, I guess I look at it this way, like if I'm, as a customer or a buyer, gonna buy a knife from a small, handmade custom place, there has to be something that draws me there over a production knife, like some kind of quality or whatever it may be. And you can pick up like the Japanese, or the Chinese knives, and these things are pretty much like, from a machinist point of view, tolerance wise, they're all on the money. Like they have very little deviations from flatness, parallel, perpendicularity. If you don't understand what I'm saying, like the scales on this have to be parallel, the hardware has to be perpendicular. It's perfect all the way through it. And I can already see that I'm not happy with what I'm getting on my equipment that I have. So I have to figure out a different way of approaching it, because I have to be able to machine it without moving. So I think the oven's going to come sooner rather than later. This Sharif knife probably, I don't even know if I'm going to heat treat it. Like I probably should, just to finish the operation to make sure I can get everything that I want to do done. But if I don't mess the machining part of it up, which there's a high likelihood that I will, then I'll probably go and finish that knife just to say I got it done. But as far as like me being happy sending it out somewhere, it's never going to leave here. Like I'm already not satisfied with my process. But that's why we build these prototypes, right? To kind of figure out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, that sort of thing. So yeah, like Sorry, I'm wearing a mid-card Mesker shirt today. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, they gave these things out at Blade Show, so had to carry the Viking today. It's a learning curve, man. So like even if me being a machinist, like I guess it gives me advantages to certain things, how to approach and that sort of thing. Like where if you were just a knife maker, you probably have to learn a lot of the machining stuff. I think I got a better grasp on that than most of the knife makers, but I'm still finding issues that, as a machinist, I don't necessarily would have, had the same kind of issues. So it's a mixture of both. You got to learn both the knife making part of it and the machining part of it, and then also the equipment that I'm working with. So like, I got a mister that I use for the 2x72 that I've been trying to use for like coolant on the mill to keep tools cool with. Molly D as well, and it's just a messier, not as efficient process as a CNC with an enclosed cell with high pressure coolant, whether it be coolant through or just blow by. Either way, like it's just a learning curve for me. So learning how to use the equipment I have to get the best results I have is proving to be more of a challenge than I thought it would be to start with. Yeah, 20 minutes of me just sitting here BSing. Do me a favor and please give me your feedback on whether you want to see detent, thumb stud, mods. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to address real quick. That someone asked me about doing setups or seeing the equipment out there in the shop. And while it's something that can be done, like until I get my head wrapped around like how I want to do it, I don't really want to take you out there and say this is how I do it, right? Like that mill's still sitting on a temporary stand. I still haven't figured out a way to put it on a platform that I want to put it on. I just don't have anything to lift it up that high, being that heavy, and quite honestly, it works where it is. So that I haven't even made a permanent home for it. So yeah, we're gonna call it there. Hope y'all have a great week. Take you out with the Degman Darax steel. All right, y'all be cool. Love y'all.